spring of 1945. Patton's Third Army was pushing through southern Germany and Austria, liberating concentration camps as they went. What his soldiers encountered inside, walking skeletons, open mass graves, the mechanized infrastructure of organized extermination, rewrote something permanent in every man who witnessed it. But there is one particular moment from those weeks that has never been given the telling it deserves. A moment when a group of SS officers, standing inside a liberated camp, surrounded by the physical evidence of everything they had done, turned to their American captors and issued a demand. They wanted better food, more than the Jewish survivors around them were receiving, even in defeat, even in captivity. Even standing among the wreckage of their own atrocities, they believed they deserved more. And then they met Patton. To grasp what happened next, you need to understand what Patton's men were uncovering in those camps through April and May of 1945. The liberation of the concentration camp system was not one dramatic moment. It was a slow, rolling revelation that stretched across weeks as the Third Army drove deeper into Germany and Austria. Every day delivered another camp. Every camp delivered fresh horror. And the men doing the liberating, American soldiers from Ohio farmland, from New York boroughs, from quiet towns scattered across the country, who had never once heard the names Dachau or Mauthausen or Ebensee, were being forced to absorb something no volume of combat experience had equipped them for. The survivors, they discovered, existed in conditions the soldiers could barely articulate in letters home. Men and women weighing 70 or 80 pounds. People unable to stand. Human beings reduced by years of deliberate starvation and systematic brutality to a physical state their liberators initially struggled to recognize as human at all. Medical teams arriving behind the combat units worked without pause, trying to stabilize survivors, trying to solve an impossible puzzle: how to nourish people whose digestive systems had been so ravaged by prolonged starvation that even small quantities of food could kill them. This was a medical and humanitarian catastrophe at a scale the American military possessed no doctrine for, no playbook, no real preparation. And the SS guards and officers who had administered these camps, the men who had engineered the starvation, who had chosen who lived and who died, who had constructed and operated the machinery of the final solution, many of them were still present when the Americans arrived. Some had fled, some attempted to disappear among the prisoner population, some had fought, but a significant number simply remained. Either because they had nowhere left to run, or because they believed, with the specific arrogance of men who had never once faced genuine accountability, that the Americans would recognize them as soldiers, that their status as German military personnel would shield them. It was precisely this arrogance that produced the moment in question. The exact camp and date matter less than what occurred. A group of SS officers held as prisoners of war, because that was their technical classification under the laws of war the Americans were observing, regardless of what those men had perpetrated, filed a formal complaint through the prisoner administration system. The subject was food. Their nutrition was inadequate. The rations they received were insufficient for men of their rank and standing. They demanded provisions appropriate to their status as officers of the German military. That complaint traveled up the chain of command. It reached Patton. Here is what you need to understand about Patton and the camps. He had personally walked through at least one major concentration camp, Ohrdruf, a sub-camp of Buchenwald, among the first liberated by American forces in early April 1945. What he witnessed there shattered something inside him. He vomited. He wept. He ordered every American soldier in the vicinity and every German civilian from the surrounding towns to come see what had been committed in their name, in their country, behind their walls. He wanted witnesses. He wanted the world to see it. He wrote in his diary that nothing in his life had ever affected him so profoundly, and that the perpetrators of what he had witnessed deserved no mercy, no consideration beyond what military necessity absolutely demanded. When that complaint from the SS officers landed on his desk, when he absorbed the fact that these particular men who had been cogs in the machinery that produced Ohrdruf and Dachau and everything between, were demanding superior rations to the Jewish survivors living beside them, General Patton did not draft a memorandum. He did not file an administrative response. He erupted. The precise words differ depending on which account you read. This was not a prepared address. It was a man confronting something that struck bedrock inside him. But the core message stays identical across every source. He made it unmistakably clear that these men would receive exactly what they had given. That the carefully calibrated, medically supervised nutrition program, the one engineered to pull starving human beings back from death's threshold without overwhelming their ruined bodies, was already more than these officers had earned. That if the quality of their meals troubled them, they should have weighed that concern before they constructed the camps. Their designation as German military officers shielded them from certain consequences. It did not shield them from his disgust, and it certainly did not entitle them to one additional calorie beyond their current allocation. Then Patton pushed further. He directed that the SS officers be confined under conditions mirroring, as tightly as American military